In Lakesh and Veritas, with honor, respect, and gratitude, everyone. Welcome to our Divination workshop here on High Frequency Living on the LaOta of the Sun YouTube channel. We will be sharing a group card reading tonight with the Call for the Truth Divination cards. And Tarvars is joining us tonight. Welcome, Tarvars.
Lakesh and Veritas, everyone. Diane, thank you for having me this evening.
You're welcome. In Lakesh and Veritas. And we are going to focus tonight on, are we inspired to dream bigger and live in limitlessness tonight? So I am Diane of the Sun, owner of Lakesh Studio One, a franchise of the Sun. We offer quantum light property clearing services and Truth and Tea service, which is called for the Truth Divination card reading. So if you're looking for a personal card reading, you can check that out at the link in the description. And check out our other highly vibrational services and products at inlakeshstudio1.com. And check out ofthesun.com also for all classes and services and products and all kinds of things going on with Of the Sun. Everything is in the description below. There are classes. I believe that these two classes in August, you can still register because they're recorded. Is that correct, Tavares?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So there's one more live day of these two classes next week. The LaOta has Sun Calibration and Tavares has Energy Hygiene 101. Did you want to share anything about the classes at all?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. The Energy Hygiene 101 in particular, we're having a really great time in expanding ourselves. One of the things that was two different things that really stood out was when people are doing energy hygiene practices, they sometimes, in particular, this one student said, I'm still noticing issues in my life and things kicking up. And I said, well, how long are you doing your practices? What does that look like? Like, are you doing rising practices? Are you doing something throughout the day? When you find yourself confronted with interference or aggression, something that from the field that may potentially drop your frequency, are you actively rising up? And then if so, how long are you holding the frequency? And that was really the key area. He says, yeah, I'm calling for right thinking. I'm doing a Ho'oponopono. I'm even calling on Archangel Uriel to clear me. I'm calling for highest possible vibration. And I shared with him, I have experienced in my life that sometimes my connection to the pain and the suffering, the pain point, whatever that negativity is within me that makes me a resonant match, I might be holding on so tightly where just calling for the highest possible vibration 3 times is not enough because of my grip, and or doing Ho'oponopono for sometimes people just say, thank you, I love you, and sorry, please forgive me, like 3 rounds. Think that, boom, magic is supposed to happen. And it's really about raising up and then adherence and sustainment of the frequency. And it is often due to how tightly we're holding on to the pain and suffering. And so that was, boom, a light bulb for him where it just started landing and making sense, where sometimes it does require us to call for the highest possible vibration more than 3 times and then keep calling for it every incrementally or periodically every 5 to 10 minutes because of our own either lack of discipline or connection with the negative emotion. So that was something that was really good, where again it helps us see where lifestyle means lifestyle. Sometimes when you got dirt and things under your nose, you got to keep going up under there. And it's not just a quick wash of the hands. You got to get into the details, and it may take a little longer, but the reality is that you still don't have to be a victim. It's still you against you, dealing with yourself, and you can use these tools to raise up. So we're having a great time, and there's still one day left. And again, for anyone who wants to join, you can hop in the class, and you can still get the recordings from the previous days. One last thing, LaOta is doing sun calibration. We're having a great time there. The students are truly learning how to discern what is in their best and highest interest. There's some live examples, primarily dealing with food. And what's beautiful about this is that we're going into deeper details in terms of like when and how much to eat of a certain type of food, which is so important. And it's funny because these students are a little advanced. They're like sun calibration 2.0, but still requiring some level of stability because what we uncovered, which we've already known this, but what's been happening naturally within this class is how students are realizing that some part of them does not want the truth. And so they're dealing with gaining congruence with asking their body's intelligence, is it in their best and highest interest regarding a particular matter for their decision making, and making sure they're in harmony and alignment and unattached to whatever the outcome is so that they may move into the best and highest outcome that's meant and intended for their soul. So we're having a great time. It's a lot of learning and undoing and deconditioning, but again, this is the foundation of all of the advanced classes. And so, for anyone who's interested, this is again another class, 2 days in. You can jump into that third class, you can get their pre recordings. And we also have tutoring available with Lauren of the Sun for anyone who has taken sun calibration. So, you can really get some fine tuning in there. So, that's what's happening with our classes this far.
Awesome. Thank you. I know that sun calibration really helped me a lot. I learned it. It wasn't a class when I learned it. It was, separate. I mean, I did take the separate class as well, but I learned it back in property clearing, and I I had a hard time at the beginning with myself, with my own thinking that I had a certain outcome I was expecting.
Yeah.
And it was like, "Oh, but I asked and I got yes." So and then it turned out to not be the best outcome, but I learned to get past that. We have to separate our mind from our bodies and really trust our bodies because
Yeah.
they are truth. They are truth.
Well,
So,
certainly.
yes, thank you for that. Yes, and if anybody's interested in signing up for either class, the description are the links. So you can go right there, and they're also at ofthesun.com on the homepage. So this wraps up our announcements. Oh, one more announcement. Next Friday, August 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will have the Quantum Light Property Clearing Chronicles. And that is with Tarvars and myself and Lauren and Tiffany of the Sun. And we will be bringing forward stories and experiences of the Sun Quantum Light Property Clearing, our services and classes. Uh, we clear properties and devices and vehicles and trips, travel, all kinds of businesses, all kinds of things. So we all have many, many experiences and stories to share. So if you're interested in learning more, this is a wonderful session to join in. And they are all of our live streams are recorded, so you can go back and look at all of them from previous sessions. And we do have playlists for all the different live streams, so you can check that out if you're looking for one in particular. So that wraps up our announcements, and I invite you to join me. Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the truth? Shall we call to see the truth in all things? Shall we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? Shall we have the courage to speak the truth and accept nothing less than the truth in all of our experiences and in tonight's Divination workshop? All righty. We are calling for the truth tonight. So, welcome everyone again. Our Divination workshop is where we do a call for the truth group divination card reading. And we use call for the truth divination cards that were created by LaOta of the Sun, LaOta Rassoull. And she wrote this book, Call for the Truth, which is available on Amazon, or it's also available at In the Kesh Studio One autograph version. She wrote this book a number of years ago, and as she was writing it, she also created these cards as a companion. And many of the topics inside they're called maxims, They are from the book, and then from other classes and different things where LaOta was speaking. So each card has many layers. There is a title, and there is the maxim, and there's the color, the number, platonic solid. It's related to one of our chakras. So there's many layers that we'll go through tonight as we do our card reading. And if you're interested in getting your own cards, you can get them at ofthesun.com or in lakeshstudio1.com. And it comes as a kit in a beautiful blue velvet bag, 52 cards that were created by LaOta and designed by Tarvars, all the beautiful design work. And it also comes with an instruction booklet, which gives more depth to each layer, and also about interpreting your cards and how you can use them in different ways. There's different card spreads in different ways. So tonight we'll do a 3-card spread. And what we do first is we clear the cards from any previous card readings we've done. And before we start, let's just, I want to give a little bit of background. Tonight, our question is, what is the truth we need to see about our role in dreaming bigger for our new identity in the new world? And this question came forward because this morning Tarvars was bringing up this topic, and Tarvars and LaOta and I were talking about it, and we wanted to go deeper. I wanted to go deeper. And I'm so interested to see what the cards might say. But it's so interesting how we limit ourselves by our family, our friends, where we work, the environment around us, the other institutions and different things. Is there anything you'd like to share, Tarvars, before we get started?
Yes, this was something that I woke up this morning with this on my mind and immediately began to call for truth and talking, wake up from dream time, and I saw something ancestrally that was taking place. And the sensitive space that you're in, I call it the space in between space. When you're waking up out of your dreams, that you're sandwiched between waking state and dream state. And so I felt the tether, and ancestry, addressing the ancestry has been extremely prominent within the last few weeks, and even more so within the last few days. I'm going after it, I'm addressing it. My brother's partnering up with me, so we got some living DNA. And I was seeing the tethers uh, of the ancestry as it relates to fulfillment of purpose and going beyond where the ancestry has gone, daring to step into a new trajectory that is unfathomable, and what that means. And what I saw within the field was the doubt, the lies, all of the things that you were saying, but from the perspective of the DNA. And as I said, I was partially up and just began to immediately call for truth. I don't know how long, and then was prompted, sit and refine your vision, retweak it. And this happens with me periodically throughout the years, where I find that as I change, I grow and evolve, the vision and the understanding of purpose requires tweaking and revising. However, there's always the baseline consistency. There's this theme, and it's been
Mhm.
like that for the last several years, which is a beautiful thing to see. But within my own experience, it was seeing my vision being grandiose, which to the layman, if I were to share some of my vision, it would seem crazy, and people would say, "You can't do that." And that's what I'm aiming for. What seems impossible, to spark and create enough fire and inertia and inspiration to go after something that seems wild, but massive and even greater than me. You know, it's massive. It's supposed to last generations and surpass me. It's supposed to be in service to humanity. So, again, my purpose and vision is within that realm, but they're like the guides are like, go bigger, and then address the aspects of ancestry that are creating levels of interference with uh, carving out and really moving into what is already destined, you know, being the vessel for what's already in the pipeline. And the one of the cards we had earlier was congruence, you know, or belief. It was dealing with
Mhm.
the idea of being congruent. And so it came full circle. So this is my thoughts, and you know, if there's anyone on the line chiming in, let us know if this resonates with you. If you have been feeling the need to maybe refine your vision or get clear on what your vision for your contribution to the world, to humanity even is, you know, because this is something that everyone has it. It's a matter of being able to sit, get clear. Some of us already know what it is, and sometimes it's not, you don't need a psychic. Sometimes it's like things that you're already passionate about, that you spend your free time researching and energy doing, that you might not necessarily be looking at clearly. And so these are some of my initial thoughts of what even sparked this question today.
Awesome. Thank you. And what comes to mind when you're talking about this too is that you said we all have our purpose and our vision. And yes, we're all unique. And sometimes I think, especially with the DNA, but also other interferences, stop us because we think that, as you said, it's too grand. Or also somebody doesn't agree with us. They think that we're not, oh, you can't do that. You have to do what I do, because you can't be unique. And
Hmm.
so that part has to go too. We all have to understand we are unique, and each one of us is a puzzle piece, and we all fit together, and everybody needs to be here. It's not just certain people that think they are the ones that are going to do it. We all are,
Yeah.
however that is. And each one of us, our purpose is similar. We're all on the same path, but it looks different for each of us. So
Yeah.
I'm very
I like
excited.
that puzzle piece analogy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the cards are going to come forward tonight. And thank you, everyone, for joining. And there's a comment from Stacy. I'm literally still in the space of receiving greater courage to step into bigger visions presented by guidance as I'm listening now. We all have to listen. That's important. Very important. So, all righty. And Steph of the Sun, I've been inspired to refine my vision and focus and make a full pivot. It has really involved the use of my throat chakra, using it effectively. All righty. Thank you for your comments. So we will get started now. We will knock 3 times on the cards, clear these cards from all previous card readings that have been done. And we synchronize and harmonize with the cards as they have consciousness, calling for the truth. And we call for the truth message that we all need to see about our role in dreaming bigger for our new identity and the new world and our purpose. Alrighty, and then we'll shuffle the cards and see what comes up. We will do a 3-card reading tonight with the past, present, and future. So let's see. I'm directed to pick inside the deck, not from the top. Okay, so the past card is love. Love should look and feel like love. Control doesn't feel like love. Appeasement doesn't feel like love. Yelling doesn't feel like love. Manipulation doesn't feel like love. Love is never lost. It is always right where we put it. This is such a wonderful card as the past, because the past cards, even though they're in the past could be yesterday and anywhere in the past, but it also, the past assists us in moving forward if we choose to use that, or it can hold us back. So if we use love to help us move forward, that would be a good idea. But we have to understand control, appeasement, yelling, manipulation doesn't feel like love. Whether we have done it or it has been done to us, it is all part of us. So we have to flip into love. So this is for the chakra, the heart chakra. And that is about love, forgiveness, and compassion. So if we have found ourselves in any of these situations on either side, we need to forgive ourselves, have compassion, and move on. And just replace it all with love. I am love. I am love. I am love. And the color green is all about balance, harmony, renewal, rebirth, growth, fertility, restoration, healing, compassion. The flip side, however, is greed, envy, jealousy, and guilt. So if we are feeling any of those flip side emotions, we need to call for love. Call for love to remove those. Ho'oponopono is a good thing because it has gratitude, love, forgiveness, and reconciliation. So that's a good place to start. Just loving ourselves. I love me. The number 4 is about stability, a 4-square consciousness, the symbol of law, system, and order. Everything is in order in the number 4. It is firmness, security, and conservatism. 4 is the builder who must submit to earthly things, where form and substance are the predominant elements. Number 4 is nature and relates to the earth. And this is also in the heart area, is the Platonic solid of octahedron. It's about integration. The heart is integrating above and below. It's in the middle. It's healing and connecting with the air energy all around us. So those are some of my thoughts. Tarvars, you have some thoughts on this past card?
Yes, I am over here wrapping up some notes because there's so much that can be said about this love card. And one of the first things that arose into my mind was, what is love? And oftentimes, humans, we associate love with forms of possessiveness, mine, ownership, and whether it's a friend, whether it's your child, your lover, it's a quite a distorted understanding, and obviously we got some growing to do. But uh, in on this path, life has taught me that love is a multidimensional, multifaceted concept or intelligence, energy. And what does this mean as it relates to our purpose? And so, what was arising when we say love should look and feel like love? And you reference love, the heart. integration, right? Merging of the energies between the above, the below, the masculine, the feminine, wholeness, right? Seeing our connection. And with purpose, we're looking to share what we love with the world. We're looking to broadcast. We're looking to be in service. And I find that within my own experience. And what's even more funnier, though, is that oftentimes, and I've seen this within myself, think thinking that I'm expressing love by helping someone or trying to save someone, via the knowledge that I may have, we end up being controlling, dominating in some shape or form, where that really goes against love. But that's what people do, right? Like, people will like broadcast fear or maybe project some type of guilt, but say, "I'm doing this because I love you," because I care, and it's a distortion. It's not truly love, because love, what I have grown to understand, is one of the things that's encapsulated within that is freedom,
Mhm.
detachment. And I think about the sun. The sun shows its love by sending us the rays of light, the photons that stimulate the conditions for growth to take place. It's not forcing us, but it's giving us what's needed without trying to infringe on our free will. And that's what I have found within my life that is required for me to interact with family, clients, students, where like I'm showing love, I'm investing my energy, I'm passionate, compassionate, but I'm also detached from your growth because I cannot bet all my ducks into that. It's inappropriate for anybody to do that. As a matter of fact, this is your life, this is your journey, but I'm here for you. And it's that same type of energy that we see when we're working with our allies, our guides, the agreeable ancestors, the angelic realm, and so on and so forth, where they're in service and they're assisting us. And I even think about right now, like the immense amount of assistance that we've had over the years, by way of disembodied beings that don't even have physical bodies. Some of them do, but not all. And there has never been any forcing or infringing, just similarly to the sun, providing the conditions for growth to occur through their support. And so, this love thing, as it relates to our purpose, it should look and feel like love, when we're taking action. So this is making me look back into my life, like, and even with my own self, what does that look like? Not just externally, when I'm dealing with people, but how does the love look towards my own self? Because that's where it all begins and ends. I can go on and on, but I'm going to hold off because I want the other facets of the present and the future. But that's what I got this far. Is any of this bringing anything else up for you in your
Oh,
interpretation of cards?
thank you. Yes. I really like how you brought up the sun. The sun gives us energy, it brings us light, and it's there for us. And if we want it, we can receive it. And if we don't want it, we can go in the shade or go in the house and not take it. But it's our choice. The love from the sun is always there. And if we operate that way, the sun doesn't care if we take it or not. It's there for us.
Mm,
And I like that analogy that you use and explanation because I think that is really helpful because love has been distorted.
yeah,
There's been so many movies and songs and, all that stuff. And so if we move into the real definition of love and what it is, that is what it is. So thank you.
yes.
Okay. And there's a comment here from Gina. And she says, I currently am taking sun calibration with LaOta and Tarvars in order to help me step into my true vision and path. Eternally grateful for all the sun family universe. Thank you for helping me expand. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, that's what Of the Sun is all about. Everyone in Of the Sun is here to assist with classes and different things, but it's all about helping each one of us become the best one of us that we are, that we can be. And Nobody's taking us by the hand and going, you have to go this way, because that would be control. That would not be love.
Yeah, it depends. You have children who need
Well,
that
that's a
guidance, but
different
at
story.
some, of course, I always preface, but
Yes.
that's the part of the issue. We end up treating people like babies and children, adolescents, and it's very inappropriate. You know, universe isn't doing that with us.
No,
That's for
no.
sure.
Yes.
The guides, the allies. Oh no.
Yes. All righty. Thank you, Gina. All righty. So our present card is freedom.
Mm,
As we free ourselves, we awaken the others that are asleep. And this is critical mass, because as we free ourselves, that ripples out into our field, and then other people have the opportunity to tap into that freedom, that awakening, and go, oh, I see that person. Oh yeah, I think that's right. I'm going to do that too. And I think that's so important, and that's where we are. I think there are so many people waking up right now, and you can see it in the critical mass. You can see all the people that are rising up against different things that we've kind of taken for granted, or allowed to happen, because we thought it was the way it was normal. And now people are going, wait a minute, that's not normal. And
mhm,
so a lot of people are waking up to all those things. So the card itself is for the 8th chakra, which is above the crown. So it's above the head. And this is about glory and motivation. And it is the color rose or pink, about romance, femininity, nurturing, unconditional love, affection, hope. And then the flip side is weak, immaturity, and inhibition. So if we find ourselves in any of those, inhibition is not being willing to talk about it, kind of a sort of like fear, um, and feeling weak, instead of going, I am strong. Each one of us is strong in our own uniqueness. And this is the number 8, and 8 will assume power. It has achieved control and responsibility in its field. Recognition and financial rewards are bestowed, and growth in the business world takes place. 8, karma is king, and we reap what we have sown. Power is associated with the 8. Ardor, zeal, steadfastness, and the ability to see in broad terms give it ambition and the qualities needed to achieve material goals. So this is part of dreaming bigger, being in our new identity. As we awaken in our new identity, we assist others around us to have that opportunity as well, if they choose. But we also understand that we are operating in love, and we are not controlling them or trying to manipulate them or trying to appease them into what we think they need to do. But we need to do what we know is for us. So those are my comments. Tarvars, you have something else to share?
yeah, those are some strong concepts and ideas. Yes, simply put, just seeing the buildup that we have going on with the past and the present, this concept of, let me pull my notes back up, freedom. So we start with love. Now we're in the space of freedom. And I did mention like love, an aspect of love is freedom.
Mhm.
Just allowing and permitting, not enslaving and trying to restrict or constrict something. And this it feels like more reinforcement for the last idea I was saying about the self-love thing and the freedom to allow yourself to express that which you came here to do. You know, I ask myself, what am I responsible for becoming in this life? Like, what is it that's my responsibility to allow to naturally unfold? And am I doing it? Or am I restricting myself? Because apparently there's people waiting on us, Diane. There's people waiting on us to free ourselves, and people on the line. There's people waiting for you to be the truth of the expression that you are so that they may receive the signal through your uniqueness. And this is something that, again, it requires, when we go back to the love, this is again when I said it all comes back to self. Sometimes I find myself just sitting and saying, I love myself. I love myself. And I got like two little mirrors. I got a little pocket mirror, a fancy one too. So I said, I'm going to have a pocket mirror. I'm going to have a fancy one. Sometimes I'll hold it up. Love you. And I'll emote, because if you don't, who will, right? But the true idea of, am I sending myself enough love and allowing that frequency to move through what may look like the freedom to express what I came here to do? Or am I stopping myself in that reality of, we're all unique? And you mentioned about the puzzle pieces. Like, your piece may help see more of the board that will inspire the person to say, "Oh, okay, I see where I fit within this," because you decided to be the piece that you are. I got goosebumps. This is so real, and we restrict ourselves. And it's a psyop. We've been tricked to do such a thing, to think less of ourselves, to think that we're nothing, and not understand that, oh my gosh, if I dare do the thing that I was designed to do, people will wake up. And not only people will wake up, uh, allowing ourselves to be free of just what's around us, because I've noticed that we're often looking for change within arm's reach, which is not a bad thing, but I do understand that non-locality is a thing. As a matter of fact, I have the book on my desk, Power versus Force, because in Energy Hygiene 101 last night, we were speaking about this book and the reference of how when you raise your consciousness higher, you have more influence on the earth plane upon more minds or more souls. When you're on the lower spectrum of frequency, there's less influence through just the simple broadcast. And that broadcast is non-local. It's not just the people in your circle and proximity. You are inspiring people in India, China, South America, wherever, Kentucky, Washington, wherever. It's not just your backyard. And so recognizing that we're non-local, we're non-linear, that's the what's at the base of the critical mass. And so it's something that, again, is like, you're bigger than whatever you think you are. What your broadcast is influencing more than whatever you can fathom at this time. And this is all, I'm leaning on laws and principles that allows me to speak so candidly and assured. But I do see we need the reminder oftentimes. So these are some of the things that are arising. Anything arising from this as I bounce this back off of you?
Yes, the fact when you brought up the idea of our higher frequencies in power versus force that you were talking about,
Yeah.
the higher frequencies are broadcast to more people as the higher, and the lower ones are not. So we have to remember that as we keep our vibrations high and our frequencies high, that we are affecting many more people, and we have
Yes.
that inspiration opportunity for more people instead of, oh, I'm sad, that kind of, yes, you are impacting people in that level as well, but not as many. And so that's a good thing to know that I can affect someone with my joy and happiness and love and freedom. I can affect more people that way. And that, I think, really gives more purpose too. You know, that helps with the purpose, that, "Oh, I can do this at a greater level because I am staying at the frequency of joy. I am staying at the frequency of love, and I'm continuing that." And I liked what you said at the very beginning. You were talking about, in your class, about sustaining that frequency. And so when we remember to sustain and keep that high frequency, then it just keeps getting broadcast, and we are affecting more and more people. Whether they take it or not, that's okay, but they have the opportunity, and many of them are waiting for us, as you said. They're waiting to hear
Yeah.
this, to feel the signal, hear the signal, see the signal, however they get it. And the more that we continue to do that, the greater the signal is. Also, with more people at that level, it gets greater and greater and greater. So that I really like
Certainly.
that. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I as you were speaking, I was flipping through the Power versus Force book to find the page about the level of influence of consciousness. You mind if I read this section?
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see here. One individual at the level of 700 counterbalances. Or so first off, we got to give a little background. It's like, what are these numbers that we're reading? So, map of consciousness is essentially a scale of consciousness from low to high, and these numbers are logarithmic mathematical equations of the quantifiable influence that consciousness has in the field or on other forms of consciousness. By the way, just a few seconds. I'm going to see if I can screen share something. This may help a little more. Haha, look at that. We're cooking with
Woohoo!
grease.
Yes.
All
Oh,
right.
thank you.
Yeah, and then I have the actual page in the book that I found, and my students are going to be so happy because I told them I'm going to find that page because I couldn't find it in class. All right, so as you can see, there's a variety of different states of consciousness, and as Diane was saying, like you can't really do much when you're sad and depressed and in low states of behavior. The amount of power that you're working with is very low, and so we can see energetically, logarithmically, these numbers, even though it says 30, 50, 75, 100, this is 10 to the 100th power. So we're talking like massive uh, quantification here of influence. But as we go higher and then we pass this baseline between pride and courage, we actually start operating in power. That's where we have real influence versus, as we mentioned, love should look and feel like love, right? People may try to use their fear to influence you. How many family members have used or parents have used fear? I don't want you to go to so and so, or you shouldn't fly on a plane, or don't be with those people, or do this and that because I love you and I just want the best for you, but they're projecting fear. That's not power. And we all feel that. We know that. But imagine that same parent operating with courage and going higher, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, heck, maybe even popping themselves into love and joy. And so there's greater power and influence. And as you can see, there's different states associated, which this is not a map of consciousness class. Still cover the truth, but uh, I say that to say, just as a little preamble, the book states that one individual over 700, which would be like enlightenment up there, counterbalances 7 million people. One individual at the level of 600, which is around peace, if that's your baseline, counterbalances 10 million individuals that are specifically that are vibrating below the 200s. And that's the thing, like when people talk about, yeah, there's a lot of NPCs, non-playable characters, or people like that are part of the collective that are making decisions that are to our detriment, voting or participation within these systems that are anti-life, they're typically below the threshold of, or at the below the threshold of 200, where there's always force, right? And so it's essentially saying you have the power to offset millions if you're vibrating at that level. So let's be a little more realistic, because not everybody's vibrating as a baseline at peace and joy, and love. It's a reality, right? However, one individual at level 300 So someone who is somewhere between willingness and courage, and that's a lot of people that's on this line, who where your baseline is typically at that level, and you're not necessarily, you might flux high and you might drop low, but you have a baseline that some your consciousness is vibrating somewhere at that level, counterbalances 90,000 individuals below the level of 200. And this is non-locally, so it's moments like this that make us think like, oh my gosh, how powerful is our influence, especially beyond just what we're experiencing in front of us, like non-locally throughout the field, how we're informing the rest of the greater organism known as humanity. So again, I saw the relevance in this because of the critical mass thing, and again, we talked about it last night, so it's fresh on my mind, and I'm just so pleased I was able to find that reference. So, Diane, anything stands out for you? Any thoughts on this?
Yes, thank you. This was the fact that we are influencing so many other people. You mentioned one person at 700 at the someone who's enlightened can impact 7 million people. That's a lot of people. I mean, even courage, even if you're just operating in courage, which is not just operating there, that's a wonderful place to be from below, if you're on the path, 90,000 people. I mean, that's pretty impressive for one
Yeah,
person, and then once you get up a little higher, you keep getting more and more influence. So, I think that's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that. That was so apropos with this card and talking about critical mass,
yeah,
because I
my
think
pleasure.
that helps people understand critical mass. This is critical mass then, is we
Yeah,
are affecting that.
indeed, we are.
So, all righty, thank you. All righty, so this is the future card.
Mm.
And the future card is truth. Let he who calls for the truth in the time of lies be prepared for war. And this is draw the sword of truth. Always keep your truth. That we need to remember to keep our truth on our path. And you may find along the path that you may need to draw your sword, yes, and bring up the truth,
Mhm.
reinforce the truth, reinforce the truth so that we can move forward. That I like that. So this is about the throat chakra. Truth is the throat chakra. Truth, sound communication. This is where we communicate. Not only do we speak, we hear through this, we see through this, our face moves through the throat chakra, but also communicating is our body movement, our body expression, how we're expressing. When we're speaking, are we like closed up with, oh, I don't want to say the truth, but I'll say it, or I'll say something. We need to be free to speak the truth. So as we awaken and we have our freedom, that gives us strength when we are speaking the truth, when we're confronted with lies. And this is the color blue, and it's peaceful and calm, relaxation, trust, loyalty, sincerity, reliability, and communication. However, the flip side is coldness, depressing, and gloomy. Stay out of those lower number frequencies and flip into peaceful calm, relaxation, and trust, especially trust. trust yourself that you have the strength to move forward with the truth. So this is the number 5. And the number 5 is freedom. Change and adventure. Curiosity and constant activity produce a resourceful, adaptable, and versatile entity, always ready to take a chance. Number 5 is midpoint in the cycle 1 through 9. It allows for decision making. It is a pivotal point in which the equations now encased in flesh and form must decide upon their future in the rest of the cycle 6 through 9. So we need to make sure that we are making the choices for the truth moving forward. And that it's so interesting that this is the future card too.
Mm-hmm.
So and the number 5 is about moving to the future. And this is the dodecahedron, which is about the ether element, ascension, divinity, oneness, connection with spirit energy. So we are connecting with, when we're connecting with our truth, we are connecting through the ether. So Tarvars, you have some comments?
Yes, this is a great final card to give us a really good insight and picture of what's happening regarding our purpose, living an inspired life. Just a second, I'm going to pull my notes back up. So I noted we have this theme of love, freedom, and then truth. And so let he who calls for the truth in a time of lies be prepared for war. This can look like a few different things, but this is what originally came to mind. Oftentimes, when you are looking to share the truth, and this is as it relates to your purpose. So let's say most of us here, your purpose, the sharing of it may create some internal conflict or resistance, or there may be a struggle for us to stay within the truth because of what speaking truth may do at this time in our experience. And so, if your purpose, which it likely does, requires you to challenge the status quo of outdated ideas, aka from the lineage or ancestry, and which we see as a manifestation of our society that we've been participating in that is not serving anyone, when we expose those contradictions, you know, it creates friction, and sometimes some part of us knows this. And what I find is that this holding up the sword is making sure that we're expressing the self-love, refusing to silence ourselves so we can preserve the acceptance. Like, how many times have we again, love should look and feel like love. If you love someone, you will likely tell them the truth of what they need to hear, even if they may fall out, because the not only the intention, but true love, how it is delivered. Look, I'm saying this with compassion because I care. And if I don't say this, I cannot allow you to just run off the highway in your car and not say, hey, you're hitting the wall. You might need to pivot because I love you. But I'm not going to control the steering wheel. I'm just going to say, hey, something's happening. And oftentimes we feel hesitance. Sometimes people feel the internal resistance just to say, hey, you got a little something right there on your beard, on your face, or on your eyelash or something. Oh, I don't want to sell the truth because what will happen? So there is that in the smallest of iterations, in your purpose, in the friction that will likely happen as a byproduct of you bringing forth the truth in a world that has deeply adhered to lies is going to be greater than telling someone they got a little blemish or something on their face. It's going to be much more friction. So I see where, the adherence to the idea of truth and the power that comes from taking solace in literally, yes, the power that comes from the embodiment of truth is protection in and of itself. But I can see where the previous cards, they really flow into this, where remembering as we express and convey our purpose, and doing it with love, whether it's with ourself, not withholding, allowing the natural flow, just like the analogy of the sun, and then the recognition that if I do this, if I live within the truth, this will help other people maybe stop lying to themselves, maybe help them keep their word, maybe show them that, oh, it is possible to, whatever it may be. A couple of examples. It is possible to not be hyper dependent on the big box stores. It is possible to start working with local communities and farmers and this and that and people who build things, and it's possible. Because I see this other person, this other puzzle piece of collective consciousness doing it. So if they can, like, it may spawn questions, to challenge the status quo of their reality. And again, as new ideas are brought forth, which, oftentimes the very idea of purpose is usually you're bringing change. You're ushering, it's like something new to the equation. That's often what I see is at the base of purpose. Purpose isn't really quite you just doing the same thing that you've always done, that has always existed before you. It's usually something that's divinely inspired, that's coming in from both channels, the information from the earth, the information from the higher cosmic realms, that's expressing through, right? And it's something, because I love this and I see that this is something that has helped me, it served me, and it's something that humanity needs, right? So, and if I don't, it, I'm withholding. And is that really love if I'm not expressing myself? If I'm not allowing the divinity to flow through me? Is it really love if I'm afraid that if I dare speak the truth of what I see, is that love? So, this is landing, and I'm speaking transparently from my own perspective, but universally, because it's me, we, it's in Lakesh. I think many people deal with the internal challenge of, if I dare express the truth, I know there's going to be friction. But one thing that engaging with the truth, and as we started earlier, I shared the moment I woke up out of dream time, I began to immediately call on truth, and I don't know how long. I just know I needed to do it, because I knew that there was power in being in the truth. I knew there was power in adherence, and I would be protected if I adhered to the truth. So those are my thoughts on this. I think this was. I feel like I got a journal after this card pool to flush some more out of me. But what are your thoughts on what I was sharing, Diane?
Yes, I thank you. I agree. There's like so many more things to come forward. I know for myself too. I like how you talked about the internal struggle. The because it always is. It's always within us because it's, oh, I don't want to say something, and it comes back also to the love with appeasement. Oh, I just won't say anything because, but that's appeasement,
Yeah.
and so I love how these cards all came forward too. I think it's a great, and also they're starting with number 4 in the heart and above and the throat. So it's all higher chakras, which is where we need to be in the higher frequencies so that we can have an impact on ourselves in the higher frequencies, number one, and then on the critical mass as we need to free ourselves. So, but the truth, for sure, let he who calls for the truth in the time of lies be prepared for war, and not physical, you know, uh, not the way that we've thought of war, like somebody has to fight and somebody has to be physically hurt. We don't need that. What we need to do is dismantle things in a peaceful way. What I'm calling for, when I do my, I'm calling for peaceful conflict resolution, whenever I come into any conflict within myself.
Hmm.
But also, if I see something outside of me, I'm always calling for peaceful conflict resolution for everyone involved. Because when we have that war kind of attitude, it only hurts us and the other person, but it also hurts Mother Earth. It hurts everything that we're all around because we're all connected. And so once we get into that more peaceful conflict resolution, that's what the sword does. The truth is peaceful. The truth is not violent. So
I have
that's what came up for me with the
yeah,
card.
I resonate with the peace thing. Funny enough, I've been calling forth the frequency of peace as well, not necessarily the conflict, peaceful conflict resolution, which I can
Mhm,
so see the power in that. But I've been prompted more to just call on peace. And so I kind of want to pivot a little bit with the war thing, and even the idea of peace and how it begins and ends with self. And I have often found that um, I'm going to get a little heady. It's all you, right? And something that I have found is that if I'm not at war, the other self is likely not going to be at war. But if I'm at war within myself about what's going to happen if I dare say this thing, it is highly likely I'm going to experience the externalized friction of what's happening internally through me, the observer. So the peace brings one into almost a sense of neutrality in a sense of where you're detached, where you're unbothered, by way of what you are sharing, where I'm going to share the truth regardless how you take it. You can take it or leave it because I'm at peace, and I don't necessarily even need you to accept the truth. I'm just doing my due diligence to an expression of love to myself, to allow the divine inspiration of what naturally flows through me to come out my throat chakra or through my actions, plain and simple. And it's not predicated upon another person's acceptance or their inability to accept it. Which peace is such a it it helps resolve the internal conflict, what's going on with us. And this is something that I've been noticing that is just so clearly observable, where much of the fight that we have, you ever notice this with fear? Like, I feel like you have, and I think I've heard this from some of your stories. But if anybody else on the line tuning in has experienced this, where you've noticed like the fear that you were broadcasting into a circumstance or a potential outcome, maybe you had to say something to someone, or maybe you needed to go somewhere or file some paperwork or do something, and you just feel the fear, and then you end up addressing it, and then you move through it, and you realize it really wasn't that serious. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was all an internal battle of what you were projecting through your consciousness. And it's like, get a grip, stop it, stop it. And so, yeah, it's a war it's inside, but it will inevitably show up outside of us when if we aren't congruent with naturally expressing truth, whether it be to our family members or people around. This is what's coming up because I'm seeing this real time. It's like I'm finding myself having to. So I'll give a case in point, if I may.
Mhm.
I was on the phone with a family member, and this family member was sharing a biblical prophecy with me, and because I'm respectful, I was probing just to see what their conclusive ideas were with this. And it became evidently clear that this individual was blind sheep following the shepherd. And there was no critical thinking at all. And they couldn't even answer the questions that I was prompting. And then they concluded with a statement, uh, I'll, I, I plead the blood over you. I want you to plead the blood of Jesus over you. And I said, "No, thank you. I will not be pleading any blood of anyone over me. I reject that." And then they attempted to put it on me again, and I rejected it again and shared, "No, thank you." And I said, "I got to end this call because I'm not in agreement with this." And You're disrespecting my boundaries. And so, good day. And I ended the call. Now, in the past, speaking truth, which I'm not in agreement with this, I would be inflammatory. I would try to challenge them. I would try to use the Bible to show all the incongruencies within their thought process. But I can see where I'm in a different space of where I can share truth without having to go to war because I'm congruent with this idea. Funny enough, the person was not fighting me, but it's not so much about the signal as something that I've noticed, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. It's really about how do you feel in response to what you're hearing? I didn't feel annoyed. I didn't feel angry, nor did I feel that it would be problematic if I dare reject what this person is saying, even though within the communities it's normalized for people to say it and familiarity with family. So again, I say this to say like the war is internal. Your congruency or lack of or lack thereof with truth will show up as a battle inside and externalize or not. It don't even have to be a war. It can just be truth, and you go about your business. Is this landing for you, Diane, or you see any of this in your experience?
Yes, I've seen a lot of that fear, as you mentioned, and then moving through it and going, what was I afraid of? But it was the internal war going on until
Mm,
it got resolved. And a lot of that, I think, is how we've been raised. It's in our DNA. It's in the atmosphere. A lot of the time of lies. We think it's that way, and oh, I want to now be. I want to challenge this now, and sometimes I can feel this inside of myself. I want to challenge it, but I I haven't ever done that before. And
mm,
so it's a new feeling, which is a good feeling eventually once you get over that. Once you once you resolve that conflict peacefully within yourself.
yes.
And but yes, I've had many of those, and they continue, but it's easier. I think it's easier as for me as I go along, calling for the truth, and then a lot of times it dissolves that conflict. It just
Yes.
kind of dissolves because you look at it and go, "Wait a minute, that's not true." And
Hmm.
instead of having the idea that I need to defend what I had before, and you look at it and say, "Oh, it's not true." It just collapses everything, as you said. And
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, alrighty," and then move on to the next thing. And that's one thing for me is there's always more. And when I get something resolved, I'm like, okay, I can relax. No. I mean, yes, you can relax as long as you're in the truth, but it's kind of funny because then it's like something else comes up, and I've learned as these new things come up to be grateful for them and go, thank you. Thanks for coming up again. I guess I didn't completely take care of it, but now I have another opportunity because things are layered and they also show up in different ways. From a lot of times for me, I haven't really known some of those things were like programs running in the background because they weren't evident until something shows up. And then it's like, why was I thinking that way? And I think that's what this card is for also, just looking for the truth and finding the truth in the new way and moving into that, it kind of lessens. It's more of a peaceful conflict resolution, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is. When you were speaking, I was hearing the truth stands on its own. It doesn't require defending. It's
Right.
powerful in and of itself, and just what that looks like and how that translates into our own individual internal conflicts that or opportunities to share the truth with other people, our other selves in our lives. And the greater idea of purpose, like to
Mm.
speak your truth, and you don't have to go on shows to debate about it, which is something that I see a lot of that happening, especially like religious and spirituality, and red versus blue, and all of this. That's they're keeping us stuck in the game, the
Yeah.
us versus them, and like it's not even about that. Just share the truth and let it land where it lands, in being free and detached, because truth does not have to fight. It's strong. It just is. The fighting happens when you're in resistance to the truth, when you want to just hold on to the lie. That's where that's where the real battle comes in.
Yes, that is so true. That is the
Yeah.
resistance. The
Yeah.
war is really the resistance of you not wanting
Yeah.
to see it. So once we let go
Yeah.
of that, whew, it's a
Mhm.
big game changer.
Massive.
So,
Hey, Diane,
yes.
you got a lot of comments in here. People are active tonight. Uh,
Let's
may I
oh, yeah.
read one
Oh,
of them?
yes.
Looks like our last one was Gina. She says, I had to talk to my daughter. I had to talk my daughter into going because of her anxiety, but I wanted to show up for her sister, and she did also. I know truthfully sharing my experiences and inner feelings with my daughter helps all of us. Yeah, sharing the
Yes.
truth. I feel you. You had any thoughts on that, Diane?
Yes. It's very helpful to, understand that. I see Gina, thank you for sharing that. Yes, truthfully sharing your experiences helps your daughter and yourself because now you're reaffirming yourself too. I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, most certainly.
Yeah.
You got another one here, Cheryl Leonard. We just saw Cheryl the other day. She was at the Rooted in Stone
Mhm.
meditation. Hey,
Yeah,
anyone
that
on the line who didn't see it, check it out. We did a live stream and it was pretty successful. Our devices survived the heat, the summer heat. So we were able to live stream outside under the sun, and Cheryl was there. And she says, we've been taught to prepare for the worst case scenario, and the worst rarely happens. I feel like Cheryl was in the conversation I had with the family member, because that's what they were trying to do. Like,
mm,
worst case scenario, and get me to accept it. And they could tell I was of a lighthearted disposition and did not feel the same fear
yeah,
that they felt, because that's not love. But anywho, I think that
mm,
statement's so true, what she's sharing.
it sure is. We need to always prepare for the best case scenario. What we want, what is the truth and what we desire, when we ask for it, it will be there because the universe gives us what we want and what we desire and what we focus on. If we're giving attention to the worst case scenario, then we won't get the best case scenario. We might not get as worse as it might not be the total worst, but it won't be the best.
It's true.
What
Yep.
when we focus that best case scenario, it's a done deal.
This is making me think of something that came up a few months ago in Light Body, when LaOta was saying to say to ourselves, "What's the best thing that could happen? What's the best outcome?" It was phrased a little like that, but just allowing yourself, well, what could happen? What could happen that would actually work out for me? Let me turn my attention. Now, I've already ruminated on the worst case scenario. I've given enough attention. Got a long laundry list. Let's see what else is on the menu. And like, that's simple, but such a powerful pivot.
It is because that worst case scenario keeps us in limitation, that
Yeah.
this is the only way. And there's so many other options. There's not even just one option. There are many options. And I think that's where we get stuck sometimes
Yeah.
is this is what because of what we think we know. We think we know, oh, in the past this happened this way and maybe it could be a little bit different this way, but these are the 2 polarities that could happen. Instead of going, "Oh, that might be something even different out there. And I think that's what calling for the truth helps bring that forward. It brings forward more options. When we're thinking of the worst case scenario, call for the truth. Is this the truth? No, it is not the truth. All right, please help me find the truth in this situation. And many things come forward. I know this has happened to me in my experience where I have seen something and I've gone, is that true? And it's like, no, it is not. And it's like, okay, so what is the truth? Calling for the truth, calling for the truth. I'm calling to see the truth and hear the truth and speak the truth. Am I speaking the truth? Am I, or am I like reflecting, the negative that I was seeing, which
Yeah,
is in me that I've got to clear out with the truth. But I think that that's so helpful.
indeed.
Calling for the truth,
I,
just calling
I
for the
can go
truth.
on and on with you over here. I'm like, I know we're a little after, but everything that you're saying, I'll just say
Oh,
it's landing. It makes sense to me. It resonates. And again, just really thankful for the card pull because these are things it we are in that time. Like, what are we contributing to the new world? And to see that our contribution matters, and to have the freedom to do so, and knowing that the world will benefit from what you share.
mhm.
Have the courage, love yourself enough to freely share this, to share the truth that must come from you. Like, I can't be your puzzle piece, whoever you are over there. Like, T, be my puzzle piece for me because I don't want to do it. No, I can't. And you can't be mine. We all are unique, and we all have our role, as you were saying earlier, Diane.
Yes, yes. Oh, this has been wonderful. Yes, I think I didn't realize what time it was.
Yes. Time
Oh,
flies. So
wow.
yeah, enjoying yourself.
Yes, and everybody too. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'd just like to share one more
Yes.
quick thing about the the herbal allies, our herbal allies that come forward for all these cards. And so for the love card, lemon balm comes forward, and that reinforces calming, peacefulness, and strength. So that's something to consider for that. The freedom card, spearmint, has come forward, bringing creativity, free choice, flexibility, patience, new life, and divinity. And then the truth card is peppermint. And peppermint is the spokes herb for the call for the truth cards. And peppermint helps to clear lies in areas so that we can see, speak, hear, and feel the truth. As you call for the truth, ask for assistance from peppermint to clear the lies so you are able to see the truth in your experiences. So those herbal allies could be of assistance. You can have one or put them all together as teas. I think that might be helpful as well. So thank you. Anything else, Tarvars?
Gratitude to everyone who joined us in light body activation. We have, what is it, one more Sunday in the sacral chakra, and then we're going to be moving into the solar plexus in the month of, what is that, September. We're almost done with
September.
August. And also August classes, we're looking to do level 2 property clearing. We're also looking to do a soul translation class, which will be with
September.
LaOta.
September for September class.
September classes. So we have some things on the horizon, and we're looking to continue to do the in-person live meditations. We're working out the logistics. Look, originally it was going to be once a month, and then when we finished heading back with Lotus, and she goes, "All right, so next week same time." I'm like, "Wait, next week same time?" She's like, "Yeah, every week." I'm like, "What? What?" So we we took a moment to brainstorm, and we're looking to alternate. So it's highly likely that moving forward, we're going to be doing 1 week on with the traditional conversation live streams on Thursday, and then 1 week off, so bi-weekly, going to a local venue, a park, a place where there's bodies of water, nature, to engage in group meditation as well. So it's again another wonderful thing for the collective. And again, as long as the cell phone signal is strong enough for the Wi-Fi hotspot, we'll be live streaming as well. So be sure to stay tuned, everyone who's joining us tonight.
Oh, that'll be exciting. It was so cool to be there yesterday outside and in person with everyone.
Yeah,
It's a cool experience. So thank you.
indeed.
And thank you everyone for joining tonight and sticking with us through our overtime and all of your comments. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next time. So, in Lakesh and Veritas, with honor, respect, gratitude, integrity, discipline,